Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne TV. It's time for News Tonight with me, Natalie. Let's take a look at our top stories this evening. Coming up tonight, government initiates processes to revoke LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves.
And after complete consultation and review with experts, it was very clear that we could completely revoke.
Also coming up, Land Minister warns of dealing with traditional leaders complicit in illegal mining as NIMUS receives 10 additional vehicles to aid operations. And as we end Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we share the heart-wrenching story of a former teacher in dire need of financial support as she battles the end state of the disease.
Can I get
Ahead in business, Vice President Professor Nana Opoku Agyeman announces plans to establish a national aquaculture commission to make the fisheries industry a major source of jobs and food security. Also ahead tonight in sports, 2025-2026 Malta Guinness Women's Premier League kicks off across all league centres. And elsewhere, Tanzania unrest deepens as opposition, fraud and protest enter third day. Give you the details of these stories and more news here on News Tonight. Stay with us. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's settle for the details. You can watch this bulletin live all across the world on X at GHOne TV. Tears and pain tell the story of 48-year-old Edith Ejare, a former pupil teacher now battling stage 4 breast cancer. What began as a small lump has become a life-threatening illness that has robbed her of her health, her job, and her savings. Hospital visits and chemotherapy are now her daily routine. Edith is appealing for support to continue treatment. Viewer discretion is advised as this report contains emotional and distressing scenes.
Suicidal thoughts and excruciating pain define the life of Edith Ejare, whose stage 4 breast cancer has drained her body and finances. Once a pupil teacher in her late 40s, she's now jobless.
Can I get
The illness began years ago with a small lump in her breast. Doctors later confirmed the cancer had spread. Since then, hospital visits, chemotherapy, and medications have become her daily reality.
I'm tests be brave. Now, face at time, no sooner more call a furnace and strike. Until now, me no phone, you could dress it. You dress it. I feel the more strike and I feel me qua. In fact, Obi any ho. Into me no phone be started say yeah and wa go me fifi ma kase me nyo bia anya ma me. In fact, my bread my ha. Nti no na me so me ya ma me no mo atwa fi hon tan ma ye free. Almost say me saji kimo bio kimo ba ko 6. Hey, kimo no so me gia every day obekọ bia so ye be you moja ya ye o tests bebre. Me ho jira me. Data
from the oncology units of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital shows that as of June 2025, over 356 new breast cancer cases had already been recorded. The statistics are alarming. For Edith, the pain is not only physical, it is emotional and life-threatening. She says what hurts most is watching her family struggle because of her illness.
Me bre, me fa pain even back on crossing a canoe. Timmy nam pain mu pa. They say it's casual must send. It's the same meter one. Capre crime in bio. I could send money. Timmy Seramo. Samumwa me kakra. Tifa ma femuno. And yan some kitwa. The same person minufun me and me in free one. I'm free.
Doctors have advised continued treatment, but without consistent financial support, her chances are slim. Although KKB Creative Club has donated some items to Edith, she still needs about 25,000 to cover treatment costs.
Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So the little that you have, if everybody is even supposed to send, if the whole Ghana, everybody is supposed to send even just one cedi, a whole lot can be done.
The story of Edith is a stark reminder of the silent battles many women face due to breast cancer, where survival depends not only on medicine and awareness, but also financial support. All donations can be sent to a personal contact on 054 5870 847 with the name Edith Ejari.
You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to some other stories now. Government has laid before Parliament the Environmental Protection at Mining and Forest Reserves Revocation Instrument 2025. The legislative instrument, which is expected to mature into law in the next 21 sitting days, seeks to completely revoke LI 2462 and revoke LI 2501, which limited the President's power to authorize mining in forest reserves. The move forms part of government's renewed efforts towards the fight against illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. Here is the Acting Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Emmanuel Ama Kofi Bois, addressing journalists after laying the LI.
If you recall, in LI 2462, which was enacted in 2022 to ensure that environmental management principles are legally enforced in mining operations in forest reserves. There was obviously a public outcry that led to an amendment of that LI by deleting Regulation 32 to effectively limit the powers of the President to allow mining forest reserves. Obviously, that led to the new LI 2501, which was entered into force on June 2nd, 2025. However, in the light of continued public outcry, as a listening government, and after complete consultation and review with experts, it was very clear that we could completely revoke that LI and to use the guidelines that was enacted in 2020. So that's effectively what I've done today. And it clearly must send a message that this government is committed to basically ensuring that we continue to protect our pristine forests and our environment. We are keeping.
More of that subsequently. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. More news shortly. Stay with us.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Trow from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Obeying later.
Of course.
You're welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne TV, streaming live all across the world on X at GHOne TV. Now, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boah, has issued a stern warning to traditional leaders found complicit in illegal mining activities, saying they will not be spared but face the full rigors of the law. Despite renewed calls from civil society groups such as the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, and the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey for a declaration of a state of emergency on illegal mining, the government still believes existing avenues to address the problem have not been fully exhausted. As part of efforts to strengthen the fight, the minister has donated 10 additional vehicles to the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat to enhance their mobility and operational efficiency. Speaking to the media, the minister said government remains committed to tackling the menace of illegal mining, which continues to threaten the country's environment and water bodies.
We are going to implement our government, take over our rivers and forests and stay in there. And this effort is going forward. Working closely with the Minister of Finance as well to make sure that they continue the support that we need. And we want you to stay committed. Keep your eye on the prize. You are the last defense of this country. And think about it every day. If they get you roped into the act of destroying our water bodies and our environment, this country is gone. And every time, think about it. 30 million Ghanaians are counting on you to deliver. You are going to be thrown at so many things. But trust me, we have job to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's stay on this issue a while longer. We are joined by Awula Sewa, who serves with the eco-conscious citizens. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, following this news, as you are well aware, we had LI 2462 and LI 2501 initially enacted to regulate mining in forest reserves. What are the implications from where you sit of revoking these?
Well, I mean, we are pleased that LI 2462 has been revoked. But let's be absolutely clear that LI 2462, we wanted it revoked because we thought that it was a perverse piece of legislation which allowed mining in forest reserves, even in globally significant biodiversity areas. We thank God that the legislation has been laid before Parliament, this time not for an amendment, but for a revocation. But the war against illegal mining must still continue. LI 2462 is only to do with forest reserves. When we have our water bodies being poisoned, when we have our farmlands being poisoned, we are dealing with irresponsible mining, which is poisoning 35 million Ghanaians, including the environmental terrorists themselves. And we need to deal robustly, systematically, and swiftly with this problem before it destroys us all. So in a nutshell, we are pleased that LI 2462 will finally, with the passage of time, be revoked. But this is only one part of the fight. We now need to focus on our water bodies, our farmlands, and on the illegal miners who are still in our forest reserves, still on our water bodies, still on our farmlands. As I speak, there are two excavators in Atronsu, close to the Atronsu stream. The activists are concerned. They tried unsuccessfully to reach Nemos, and they are concerned that the only source of drinking water in Atronsu will be polluted if the excavators are not removed.
Right. Now, you talk about the LI being glad about the revocation of LI 2462. How about LI 2501? I mean, we know that this seeks to limit the president's power to authorize mining in forest reserves. How impactful do you think that will be in the fight against illegal mining?
You see, LI 2462 was to do with quote-unquote legal mining. It was to do with the duty bearers allowing mining in forest reserves. One would have thought that we try to protect our forest reserves, not to do away with the protection. So that is why we campaign fiercely to have LI 2462 to be revoked. So let me be clear, that deals with giving permission to mine in our forest reserves. Now what we are talking about is people who are mining without licenses. They are mining with impunity. They are using mercury, cyanide, whatever they can lay their hands on, which is poisoning us. So yes, LI 2462 is a good thing that is being revoked. But let's not forget that it was dealing not with illegal mining per se, but with permits being granted to decimate our forest reserves. Thank God the legislation has been laid before Parliament, and the amendment as well, because the amendment only sought to remove the power of the president to allow mining in forest reserves. It didn't do away with, the other areas where concerns had been raised. So right now, this whole law is going to be done away with, and we are happy. But let's not lose sight of the fact that the house is still burning. The house is burning. There's illegal mining going on almost everywhere, and we need to stop it before it engulfs us. So LI 2462 is great, but we shouldn't be complacent. Let's look at the mining that is going on, that is poisoning our water bodies, that has led to the rise in kidney disease, deformed babies, and maternal death, and the fact that our food security is in jeopardy. Right now, we are told our food has been poisoned. So we need to deal with that now. LI 2462 was important, but it's a small part of the big picture.
Now, let's talk about the work of NIMUS. We had the lands minister recently, as we are showing on screen, present the body with some cars, with some vehicles. And that's What do you think of the work in general of NIMUS? How effective do you think that it has been so far?
You see, I'd like others to come to draw their own conclusions. There's no doubt that NIMUS is doing some work. Nobody can dispute that. But let's look at the magnitude of the task before us. The house is burning. The fire is in so many different areas. So NIMUS can only do so much. They need more boots on the ground. They need more resources so that they can do their work effectively. I gave the example of Atronsu. A few weeks ago, we alerted NIMUS that an excavator had been brought to Atronsu. A second one was brought, I'm told, yesterday. To the best of my knowledge, NIMUS has not been able to go there. The activists are concerned about the only source of drinking water, the Atronsu stream. So NIMUS is limited. We have all the best will in the world, but it's limited. And that's why people are calling for a state of emergency, because of the urgency of the situation we find ourselves in. We face a national emergency. Our water is being poisoned. Water is life. Water is life. It has affected the food chain. Our forest reserves are being decimated. NIMUS can do only so much with the resources they have. We believe they need far more resources so that they can be even more effective, because we are on the verge of an ecological catastrophe, and time is of the essence. As we speak, we are told that the Draw River Forest Reserve in Nzima, there's illegal mining going on there.
Right.
And there are so many other places. The Akombra has still been diverted, despite NIMUS, despite the Blue Water Guard. So there's a lot of work to be done, and it can only be done if there are sufficient resources to deal with the fires raging throughout.
You say that the fight is still very much ongoing, in spite of being glad about the revocation of this LI. But let's talk about the responsible cooperative mining team. They express excitement, specifically as it pertains to River Tunnel. They say that it's showing some signs of recovery, and the team has praised President Mahama. What's your assessment of that? As an organization, do you feel so as well?
You see, let's be very clear. When we are dealing with water, even when the water is clear, it doesn't mean it's free of poison. So, for example, Ghana water does not remove the toxins, the heavy metals from the water. So even where the water is clear, it could still contain arsenic, mercury, cyanide, because they are colorless. So even if the waters are regaining, the brown color is going, it doesn't mean we're out of the woods. The water needs to be tested. We need to know what exactly is in the water. So in fact, the National Association Against Coalition Against Illegal Mining is asking Ghana Water to test the water and let us know the results, so we know what metals are in the water that is coming through our taps. Let's not be deceived that if the water is clear, it means it's safe. That is not necessarily the case.
Awula Sewa, thank you for your time this evening. She serves as coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, joining us there. Certainly more on that subsequently. Let's head to Parliament now, as some members of Parliament are questioning the veracity of media reports on an absenteeism league table, according to reports sourced from a supposed attendance report from Parliament. 28 MPs, some cabinet ministers, failed to attend proceedings in the chamber, in some cases over 20 times during the first meeting. This report has more.
In one report, MP for Botiano English Amanfro, Felix Oakley Akwete, was reported to have missed 23 sittings, while another report quoted 8 days. The MP produced evidence of medical leave he presented to Parliament when he took ill. According to him, although he was given more than 5 weeks sick leave, he did not even exhaust it. He questioned the motive behind such publications.
In fact, I was so astonished to hear even my name being mentioned, that I've absented myself, so and so. And some were saying 8 days, some were saying 23 days. That even tells you that they don't have their figures right. I was absent for some few days, of course, yes, because I was under the weather, and I did the needful. I have evidence. These are my evidence to show that I presented to the office of the clerk through the table office. Excuse duty. Okay. And of course, I could not even, in fact, when I was in the house, I was so yearning to return. So I couldn't even exhaust the duty, excuse duty I was given. And I started coming to Parliament.
Well, on the floor of Parliament during the presentation of the business statement, other MPs also brought the development to the attention of the Speaker. Amenfi West MP Eric Affo charged the table office in charge of attendance to be more meticulous in their dealings.
They are working for the nation. The Speaker is part of the MP's work. So I would therefore appeal to the table office to make sure they intensify their work, not to mark MPs absent. Because the Speaker, yesterday, I was going home in the evening and I heard a radio station mentioning the roll call. The Speaker mentioned the roll call. So please, I will appeal to the table office to do the needful.
Afajato South MP Frank Efriye asked for closed sitting to address the matter of absenteeism in the House.
Indeed, this does not augur well with all of us, and I want us to look at it in totality. And if leadership on both sides of the aisle will agree, I would like to appeal to the chairman of the business committee that adequate provisions be made so that as MPs at the committee of the whole, we could look at this issue very well.
Majority Leader Mhama Yarega referenced the records of attendance to question the claims of absenteeism. According to him, records of attendance always show high numbers, and thus the claims cannot be true.
That attempt to present a narrative out there that members don't attend sittings in Parliament is totally inaccurate. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we should go by our own votes and proceedings, because that is an accurate recording of those who have been in attendance in this House. Of course, at any given time, we need a certain quorum to do certain things. When those times come up and anyone raises quorum, we have a mechanism for making sure that everybody gets into the chamber so that we can have the relevant quorum to conduct business.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, who failed to confirm the authenticity or otherwise of the report in the media, urged MPs to take the public criticism in good faith.
The news circulating, I think, is from the records of the House. It's not something that is officially released by Speaker, but I think it's from the records that they are using. I don't know whether it's the corrected versions of the votes and proceedings, because I don't have an idea about that. But I did request the table office to compile a comprehensive report of the sittings of the first meeting and the second meeting. And that was done. Whether it's that record they are using or not, I have not cross-checked to make sure it's authentic. But definitely it's a concern that the public is expressing, and they are entitled so to do. It's just that we have to look at our ways and look at our conduct and our time management to present ourselves on the floor of the House during plenary sittings.
You're so live here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. We bring you more news shortly. Do stay.